Welcome to the Amanda Seales Show. It's Amanda Seales here with our resident historian. Yes, Kimberly Renee is here to bring up some old-ish. What are we learning about today?
Well, we're going to start with a bit of popular culture, or rather current events. And so did you hear about how UNC Chapel Hill has decided to divert their DEI funds after the whole Supreme Court ruling that affirmative action was unconstitutional? Did you read about that?
I heard about this, but I did not know about the diversion of the funds.
Yes. Any guesses as to where they voted to send those funds?
The lacrosse team? I mean, I'm just trying to think of like the whitest space possible.
Well, this public safety.
Oh, come on.
Serious. Now, that's our precursor for the conversation today, because as you know, we're still talking about student protests. And the protest that we're talking about today was in Harlem, 1969. And it came about after DEI programming was scheduled to be cut. So spoiler, the students won, but let's talk about how they did it.
Okay.
So in the 1960s, the Sikh program, which we know was pioneered by Shirley Chisholm, and introduced to the SUNY system, the City University of New York, that university system. And I believe that City College, which is in Harlem, was the first to pilot the program. And so at the time, City College, though it was in a very not white neighborhood, was 97% white. So Sikh was actually giving opportunity to the, quote, economically and educationally disadvantaged students in the area, which basically reads Black and Puerto Rican. Right. And it provided them not only access, but also support when they got there. That's what it was supposed to do. Now, less than a decade in, the program was scheduled to be cut. It was under threat by Governor Nelson Rockefeller, who we know eventually became a VP. And so the students got together, Black and Puerto Rican students, and they listed 5 demands of the president's office. This was in October of 1968. And here's what they asked for. They said they wanted a separate school for Black and Puerto Rican studies, which is basically a whole series on anti-racism, because they wanted people to understand, these are the social and economic vices, or rather oppressive forces. And we need y'all to understand that. They also wanted a separate orientation for Black and Puerto Rican students. Even though they were invited, they didn't feel accepted. They felt pushed aside, they felt alienated, and so they wanted to create a safe space for themselves. Third, they wanted a voice for Sikh students in the settings of all the guidelines for the Sikh program. Because what they were finding is that the superiors in the Sikh program had no accountability. So it didn't matter what they did, there was no accountability. So the students wanted to have a voice in that. Fourth, they said they wanted the racial composition of all entering classes to reflect the Black and Puerto Rican populations of New York City high schools. Now, that meant 98%. 98%.
What do you mean?
98%, because Harlem was 98% Black and Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
That is literally the opposite of where the school was. It's like, if you're going to be in our neighborhood, then you need to look like us.
Yes. All right.
So the fifth thing that they asked for, so they said they wanted Black and Puerto Rican history and Spanish language to be a requirement for all education majors. Basically, speak to us how you're supposed to speak to us in Spanish. So the president at the time, Buell Gallagher, when he received it, he didn't respond to them. And so on April 22nd, 1969, the students chained the gates of City College shut. And over the next several days,
I know them gates. I know them gates.
And so over the next few days, they occupied various university buildings. They organized marches and strikes. And yes, there was violence, some violence between the pro-strikers and the anti-strikers, but also enacted by police, as we would expect. But the students didn't back down. Eventually, shortly after, President Gallagher ended up resigning, and then they had the attention of the administration. And while they didn't get every single demand that they asked for, these events actually helped to create an open admissions policy, which had not been done before. And so this was the first time.
What is an open admissions policy?
So it basically means that you're removing some of the requirements that used to be necessary for you to enter school. And a lot of these requirements are the things that we know are built on racism.
Yes.
And obviously the misfortune of some of our education systems. And so that's what happened in the fall of 1970. And so that is what they accomplished.
And so yet again, an example of how student protest is effective, can be effective, useful, and also set forth, things that reverberate so long after. Yep. Example number 2080. There you go. Thank you so much. I've learned so much about this particular space of existence, like the student protest element of it. So thank you thank you so much for really centering that this month. About, again, the Kent States of it all, but it's like, no. And I mean, I know from Columbia what took place at Columbia, but it really is very incredible just to see that this is legacy, folks. Like this is as American apple pie as it gets when America likes to talk about what it is to be American. This is it. There you have it.
So I'm wondering what the UNC students are going to do next.
Did they set up an encampment by any chance? Do we know?
I don't know. But I'm curious how they will respond to the DEI funding being redirected.
Yeah, that's very specific. And it's also interesting that they're doing it right now when school lets out. So it's like, okay, you guys can go hang out over the summer. So when you come back, maybe you'll have forgotten by then.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. I think next year is going to be a very interesting school year. If people even go to school. Like, we're going to be right here saying enrollment has declined. So we shall see. But thank you so much for always keeping us in the know. Where can people get more Kimberly Renee in their lives?
Well, you can connect with me at It's Kimberly Renee on Instagram and TikTok, or KimberlyRenee.com.
There y'all have it. It's the Amanda Seales Show. We'll be right back to listen, laugh, and learn. We are